Papua New Guinea. Let's see how those people actually. First, we're gonna look at the population and roll some numbers, and then we're gonna look with Street View and whatever they have their 360s to find exactly how those people actually live. So let's start with numbers. Over 10 million people, 10.7 million people population, and still growing, but the growing rate is pretty much going down, which is a good news. Now look at this, 1955, only 1.8 million with a growing rate about 2.42 population. That will be like 40,000 net increase, minus 600 migration, 17, 18 years old, median age. Fertility rate, one of those nonsense, 5.8, and actually they got up to 5.2, which is insane in my opinion. Urban population around 2.6%, so very, very low. Now 2025, 10.7 million people, so they increased population by 9 million people, which is insane. Yearly change now a bit lower at 1.7, 1.8, but still a huge amount. That will be like 190,000 people per year, around that. Migration is still on minus 284. Well, they have some migration on plus before pandemic. After pandemic, they just pretty much everyone wants to leave. Pretty high migration, I would say. I have no idea where those people came. Because we're gonna say the economic situation is not that great either. Median age 22, 23 years old. Fertility rate 3, still a huge one, but half from what it used to be. Urban population around 12%. Now in the future, they say in 2050 population is gonna be roughly 15 million people, which is insane. With that still growing more than 1% per year, which that would be like 150,000 of them. Migration on minus 1, let's say 2,000, around that. Median age 28 years old. Population still above replacement at 2.3, 2.4, which is insane. Urban population around 22%. So look at this. Life expectancy period here is pretty okay, I would say, pretty good. 66 years old. Females 70, males 64, which is kind of the right age, I would say. Infant mortality rate 31.2. Death under age of 5 38.6. So pretty much no medical system whatsoever. The pyramid is pretty much, you can see, a very solid base. As always, male surplus from pretty much entire life until the age of the 62, 64. So yeah, entire life expectancy for the man is gonna be pretty much living alone. Economic, look at this. From the 10 million population, they have like GDP around 32 billion US dollars in 2025, and GDP per capita in 2025. So they estimate that by the end of the year around 48, not per capita, it's PPP, 48 billion. And per capita, look at this, 2,500 US dollars, which is extremely low, and PPP around 3,700 US dollars. Agriculture 22%, industry 42%, and services 35%. So yeah, you can see why. Corruption index, well, it's not one of those clean country, let's call it like that. Papua New Guinea, let's see exactly. Papua New Guinea scored 31. They increased 6 points, which is good, but 31 is like extremely corrupt country in my opinion. Now history, you can see here, it is something interesting. You can see on the recent history was under the Australian government, let's call it like that, for a while, and then they got independence, as you can see here. But before that, they were in the British territory. Then for a very short period of time, was after the action in the war, was US establishment, let's call it like that, as you can see. Then it was like a British territory, but they were a German New Guyana, so you can actually see some German influence, and they were there from quite a while, from 1884 to 1920. That's some time, I would say. So let's see exactly those people actually live. There's a huge population here for the economic context, and I want to start, let's say, in these islands. We can see not that many 360 on Street View, so we're gonna have just very little data to just look at them, but hopefully we're gonna see something nice. Yeah, so far I kind of like it here. I thought that's a snake, but it's not. Again, it's loading very slowly for whatever reason, probably because not that many people checking this area. These houses, it looks pretty good, but I suspect that like something like a resort or something like that. If not, they actually looks pretty good. I kind of like it, this one. but I have a feeling that some sort of the resort in this area, that's why they're looking like that. Like I said, not that many 360s here. They have some high peaks, I would say. What is the elevation here? Maybe we can tell us. So around 2000 meters, almost just shy of 2000 meters. So yeah, very high, I would say. I didn't expect to see that. But hey, they have some high elevation peaks there, mountains you can actually climb, which is pretty good. Probably they have, like, you can see here even some snow. So yeah, they can see snow even that far away, let's say from much more established country with high mountains and snow. But we can have some small community here, so you see exactly how those people live. Well, this is like a farmer market or whatever it is, a fishing markets. There is some garbage here, but it seems just like somebody just put them right there and they're gonna waiting for they just picking them up. So I'm not gonna say nothing bad about that. The road, it's pretty decent, I have to say. But again, the problem is like 10 million people, it's insane population for such a small economy. But here, yeah, there is poverty, but I don't think they mind that much. They have even an airstrip here, ooh, so they can receive supplies over the air. I think it's an airstrip. Probably it's that one right there. No, it's not that one. I have no idea where it is, but clearly it's not from this region. Now, I don't like those garbage here. 100% that's garbage, and they have expensive cars again. Probably to be the same way that population is doing. So they're going outside to work and then spend the money inside the country. Ooh, we have much more 360s here. Let's check those ones. Yeah, in the communities you don't have that many, unfortunately, but the country looks, look at, they have nice volcanoes. It looks very nice, actually. So I assume that in the tourist area they should do very well, but judging by that economy and that service industry so low, I highly doubt that they're doing that well. That's a volcano, that's a nice. And even this lack of 360s and street views, it's gonna take a toll. Why is there so smoking here? That's a lot of smoke there. Ooh, something happened here. I expect to see some lava or something, but no, it is something happening here. Probably some thermal water. I'm not sure, but looks pretty interesting. And yeah, it looks very basic tourism, I would say, but I don't mind it. I actually kind of like it. Don't see that many tourists, so they don't get like extremely jammed together there to see something. It is pretty decent. You can see those are the cars, probably from tourists. Those are people trying to sell something to make a living. Well, you know, you multiply yourself that much that fast, you're gonna have some troubles, and if you can understand that, you're pretty much destined to failure, in my opinion. Let's see this one. Oh, that's from the ship. Ooh, yeah, not that much information, but I have to work with what we have. So yeah, I'm gonna see how it looks. Whoa, those are expensive cars. I mean, like, again, those like 30,000-40,000 euros, brand new, even more probably. So yeah, you can see the city, the town from the above, looks pretty nice. The roads, I kind of like it the same way, like I said, they're just ground level roads, not there is up, no, nothing like that, just nice and comfortable. A lot of mountains, probably volcanoes, which is pretty interesting. Now we're gonna go deep in the jungle. Those are actually communities of people, I would say. Yeah, let's check that immediately. But doesn't look so bad. I mean, the grass is pretty nice. Vegetation also. This garbage right here. I don't know why you choose to make exactly here. You just could just go on other part. Just you kind of look for this one. That's the bad way. Yeah, the road seems to look pretty nice. Look at this, a lot of communities just spread out. I wish I can see some 360s from this region to see exactly how those people live, but We have very specific ones, but doesn't seem to do that bad, I would say. Look at this, they have a house here with a lot of green around it. Roads from above at least looks decent, looks pretty good. For such of an impoverishment country, things don't look that bad, I have to say. Oh, this one, let's see this one. It does not look so bad, I have to say. Look at this. So even like I say, probably the same story, that they're working outside the country and then came here to spend the money, or those numbers are actually fake, because they looking pretty nice in here. I mean, just we expect to see insane poverty, and you find exactly the opposite. And look how spread out they are on this island. Just they don't live jam together, which is good. In memory of guard chief. Okay, somebody probably died there. Yeah, I mean, it's just those people live better than more connected with the landscape, with the nature, most than pretty much everyone else in the Western world. So they doing actually pretty decent there. And the quality of those 360 is top notch, good for them. This is from 2021, but still 4 years ago, pretty recently. It's not what I expected when I see those numbers. The problem, like I said, is going to be population. They're growing way too fast, and they got way too big so surely. Look at the grass here, it's just impeccable. Somebody taking care of those, because there's no way they're gonna stay by themselves like that. Some banana trees. Yeah, the housing needs some improvement, but you know what? Living in a yard like this, I'm gonna take that. It is very nice. We have here on the coastline something. And we have some small, amazing, because we have some small houses even here. Oh, it looks like paradise since, no? Oh god. It looks, look at this. It looks nice. It looks actually pretty nice. Not that many 360, but very well made and in a key area, let's call it like that. Here I have no idea what that's supposed to be, but it is deep in the forest. Here on the coast, and again some small communities everywhere, which is pretty interesting. Now I don't like this garbage here, but they have, wow, look at those cables, why so thick? They have probably extremely good signal. So I don't know if they have to pay cable or just that's free, but it looks pretty good. I mean, just look at this, living in the area like this, you can be mad. Again, I'm not sure exactly how those people actually make a living here. It will be interesting to hear about someone who actually live here if you watch this video. But I mean, life here in this nice nature, it is pretty good. It's just, it is good. You might not afford everything that you want, but you're gonna have from the start a lot more than the rest of us in the rest of the world. I mean, again, yeah, the house is not amazing, as you can see. Those TV antennas, whatever signals they have, that are extremely well put together, let's call it like that. They have some solar panels. Yeah, they don't have electric power, they just from the solar panel, which even that is pretty interesting. I don't like this garbage here. Wow, they don't even have the electric power, just what they have from the sun. That would be interesting. So you need to have some efficient equipment, have the battery, small battery, some solar panel, and just live like that easily. That would be nice, but I don't think the technology is exactly right there. Here, clearly they have some cables, so they have the electric power. The same antenna, probably the same company. I'm not sure which company supplied those, but looks like they're gonna make a lot of money. Yeah, the housing, you just see where the poor are, but They live spread around these communities, as I can see, and they keep a lot of space between the houses, which is good so far. I don't like to see them jamming together now. It's more, let's say, civilized, this one. This is the airport. Cars also very expensive, so ooh, that's pretty good, pretty good. See, they have some space between them. They don't have fences, so they're already doing much better than a lot of people with more income. Here on the beach, yeah, pretty decent. You know, even they don't have an urban code, especially on this island, I don't think they have one. Probably when they're gonna go back to more civilized, let's call it like that. Did we check this one? Probably, yeah, you can see here, they're gonna live much more jammed together, so it's not gonna be as nice. But still pretty decent, not as good as we saw. So clearly you can see when you have too many people living in the same area, things are going in the south, going sideways. So yeah, so see, it is better to live more spread out in the small communities. This looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't see so far that, I mean, in the medical system, yeah, that infant mortality rate, it is pretty tough. But so far, I see actually a great life here so far. Very nice and cozy. I'm not sure exactly how the crime rate it is, but corruption, yeah, pretty high, I have to say. To the southern islands, do we have some 360s here? No, we don't, but probably there are some small communities that living in the same way. So yeah, I would say they are pretty civilized. I don't think the building code is that well made, but still the urban layout of those small communities are very nice. So I guess we can do, if they don't have that, I guess we can do well even without a government intervention. But yeah, probably that growing rate is gonna take some toll with time, or maybe not, who knows. But yeah, look at this, they just live a bit spread out, not that jammed together. They leave lands between them, you can actually breed, not just jam it together, all of them, which is pretty interesting, pretty nice the way to do it. Again, I don't think it's the urban code, it's just they choose to build like that and make some space between them. I mean, look at this, just amazing. Looks so much better, so much green. See, leave some space between houses, just jam it in. They are covered in vegetation and trees, which is always nice. That's an airstrip right here, and they have even a plane here. Ooh. You know what? They're doing pretty good. Looks like a dinosaur to me, this one. Just looks like a reptile. Now, of course, we're gonna go look at this. So, big cities just kind of goes sideways, everything, but probably this is gonna be from inside. Oh, they have malls here. Now, the question remains, would you like to live, we even have some 360, some street views, let's check those ones. Would you like to live in a city like this, jammed together with more money, or living in those small communities with pretty much no money, I guess, or very little money, but having those views, those much better, let's say, lives, I would call it. Because here you can see that nice spread around is pretty much gone. You see them more jammed together, not that more green, not that more trees, a lot of more concrete, a lot of more intervention from the human being. So, but they even here, they're still pretty good. Pretty good. Wow, I don't know what is that, but it looks pretty nice. Can we check that? What is that? A hotel, a mall, a restaurant, a museum. Wow, it looks pretty nice. I have no idea what it is, but I actually like it. If that's a museum, it's 10 times better than anything else. I don't know what they're doing. I don't see that one. How much was 2,000, 3,000 per capita? I don't see it. I see much more than that. I see at least 10 times more. At least. Just, and with that high corruption, you still manage to do all kind of things here. It's kind of strange to me, but ooh, those are nice. It's a nice car actually. A lot of cameras here and some speakers, I guess, whatever that is. Pretty decent. Yeah, the roads very good. Again, like I say, they are living jammed here, but oh, look at this in this area. So in this area, as we can see right here, still jammed together, but with more trees and green, so probably it's gonna look a bit better. Here, let's check from above. Yeah, not that. Oh yeah, we can see something. Even here a bit spread out, not as much green, as you can see even from above, but still pretty decent. I'm not sure if probably this is the main city, not sure yet. Yeah, the way they live here is not exactly groundbreaking, but also not so bad. A lot of Australian vibe, let's call it like that. Yeah, I guess that's the main city, the capital maybe, who knows. Oh, something happened here, it's important. Pretty decent, but the grass needs more taking care of it. Not that bad, I would say. This one, again, pretty good also. They're a bit, again, jammed together, but still. Pretty decent. Let's see something else. You know what, actually they're living pretty good here. I did not expect to see that, just don't see it. Why they have so less green grass there? Pretty strange. Phew, they living actually pretty well. Yeah, I guess money doesn't, that GDP per capita doesn't say you that much anymore. Yeah, the medical system that we saw is not great at all, so that needs some serious improvement. But I guess the main thing that should worry about them, right? Those are bombs. What? They have from the war. Look how many they are. They're just gonna what? They're just gonna detonate them here in the middle of nowhere. The main problem, I would say, the main worry was going to be that growing population. So they have to somehow stop that, or at least stop it. The ideal is going to be like lower it, but look at the green here. I mean, this grass has to be maintained. I cannot believe if it just goes natural that small. And yeah, it looks amazing here. I mean, just you can really have a nice vacation here. And I'm not sure exactly how expensive it's gonna be, because you cannot trust those GDP per capita numbers anymore. But they seems to doing pretty good, and I guess the life there is gonna be actually, from what I saw so far, much better than most of the country that I was judging, even by those landscape. I mean, just who would not want to live in the nice country like this? I mean, look at this, nice views, nice trees. And it's pretty clean. I mean, we saw some areas with some garbage, which I always condemn them, but not insane one. Here again, we're gonna start having those much more communities, much more jammed together, much more civilized, you know, as they say. That's a civilized country, civilized community, when they just jam together and everything is more expensive. Wow, that's a huge house. I thought it's banana tree, but no, it's not. Something happened here. Phew, those are a lot of houses here. Let me check that. I think it's out 360 there. Those are a bit too close again. So yeah, so far they manage even that increase in population pretty good, I have to say. You could be much worse, way worse. Well, look at these views. I mean, it's that from the above, but look at this housing here. Yeah, they don't look like great houses, especially from the above. But look at it. They have some space between them. They have a lot of green, have a lot of palm trees. They looking decent. Okay, they looking actually decent. It's much better than what we saw in South Africa so far. So yeah. They doing, I don't know what that fire happening there, but they doing, even again, look at these houses. They clearly they don't have much. But if a poor community like that looks, they have the space, they have the greens. The only thing that remains just lower the cost of materials and try start building, I don't know, new houses, and you're pretty much in paradise. And even the roads, I don't think they need. I mean, just look at it. You have the main road, which is very good, tarmac, concrete, whatever it is, and you can have some dirt roads to your house. You don't need to. This one they have well-maintained roads. But yeah, I mean, it's just you can lower the cost from the road and just make them a bit. Look at this one. Those unfortunately we can't see them, but even they are jammed together much more. I like those hexagonal template, whatever you want to call it. It does look, even here, look at this, just pretty nice. I mean, they keep their space between. I mean, again, we got it. The population is growing, but you can. The islands are pretty big, so we can spread out, just living pretty nice together. I mean, they have a helicopter. Wow. Yeah, I think it's way more. I mean, those houses, I don't like it. I mean, even if it's, let's say, much cheaper. I mean, the houses you can take it and move it, like I say, in this forest, they're gonna look much better. But don't build like this. That's horrible way to build. I mean, compare this one with even those one that are spread out, just much better this one. And it doesn't cost you that much. I mean, it's the same construction. Just put it there and you're done, and you're gonna live much better. At least that's how I see things. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with the same fucked up land, urban area like we have in pretty much the rest of the world. Even here it's pretty decent. Again, a bit closer to each other, but those one looks a bit more spread out. You know what? They're looking pretty good here, I have to say. I mean, just manage somehow most of the houses. Leave that nice spread out with those green fields and those palm trees. You're already halfway there. It's just like I said, you just need the new houses and you're gold. So I guess they kind of got influenced by we see the same thing in Australia, I guess, in New Zealand. So clearly they got some influence. I don't see any German influence, by the way. Yeah, those houses doesn't look that well, but again, you need some money to build a new one. But yeah, here it's a bit jammed together. I don't like this community. It's just not even close from what we saw. Not so well done here, in my perspective. Yeah, those are huge houses, by the way. The roads doesn't look so well. So yeah, but like I say, we have some good examples too, which is pretty interesting. I mean, look at this, how spread they are. But they have land, so spread them out. Don't live so tight. And plant more trees. It's gonna look much better. How they maintain those grass? Because it's amazing. That's gonna take a lot of effort. I don't think they, like I said, they just grow that small and remain like that. That would be amazing, but you need to cut that grass, I guess. Here they don't have a road, but it's one of those dirt roads, which is again pretty decent. I'm impressed we can come in. Like when I see again, you kind of seems like we're gonna get lost, let's say, in those numbers when you see especially the GDP per capita and the nominal. They have even a gym here. Wow, it's pretty well equipped. And we kind of start processing in our mind that it's not gonna look that well, it's not gonna be that nice, but you get surprised. Like this country, like Papua New Guinea, it actually looks pretty nice. I mean, just I would say like they live better than 95%, 98% of the rest of the country, judging by just how those houses are spread out. Yeah, you can when you have like this and that culture that you should not live that close together, we should give us some space between us. We should plant, like, say, more trees, nice lawns. And you have that already. You pretty much, that's the hardest thing you can do here in the West. That there's just no way it's gonna happen. But when you just start with that, and then the only problem that you have is just pretty much technology, like how you're gonna bring electric power, how you're gonna bring running clean water, how you're gonna have a better house, better materials. That's gonna be much easy fixable than that set of mind that everyone gonna live jammed together, everyone is gonna be so close, so tight. Everyone just have like the property has to increase in price like 10 times over the next 10 years, something like that. So I'm not sure exactly how expensive is gonna be a house here and how easy it is to purchase one from the average salary that they have. But the fact that in some areas you can find, pretty much most of them, houses that are spread out and leave some space between them, that is gonna take you a long way, and it's gonna put you in a great position. Now here you can see they're living much more jammed together, but I guess even here you can have some other decent area that gonna give you a bit more space to breathe. So this is from 2021, but the quality is not that great. So clearly there are some bad areas, not so well areas, not so well made, but a lot of them, I would say, pretty good. I think they have some problem with Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, but they living pretty nice. And every single one of those cars, even they are government car, probably police car, whatever they have here, I'm not sure exactly, but those are expensive cars, by the way. Or from, I don't know, maybe they're working in a mine or whatever they have here. I mean, look at this. When you build like this, it's not a great idea to just, I know it's more efficient from the money perspective, but you're gonna remain with that set of mind, and it's gonna be extremely hard to just take it out on that. I believe here in the West we're gonna have, I'm not sure if this century, but the next one, 100%, we're gonna have a huge problem with the beauty of the house, because right now what it's important is for the West is location, where the house is situation. It doesn't matter how fucked up the house it is. If it's in a good area, it's gonna cost you like 10 times more than a very nice house, even if you buy in a shitty house. At some point you're gonna say, okay, I don't want to live in this area, I want to sell this apartment or sell this house, and you're not gonna able to, because nobody's gonna want it, so we're gonna have a huge problem then. And I want to move to this countryside. We're gonna look much better. You can see much more breathable space, much more green, much more trees. Where actually here is the one you actually want to live your life, not jam it together in a small tight spaces. And there's gonna be some maybe hopefully with a lowering population, not that much fighting for land in those areas, but a lot of the smaller communities. I would say even in my country already start to see that small villages that get pretty much abandoned, small towns, even big towns. They're gonna say even huge cities, the biggest city you're gonna see around the city, I guess. You're gonna see people willing to live. And especially in the city, in a bad areas, the same is you're gonna see that with the lowering population. That's why I'm so advocating for the lowering population as fast as possible, as much as possible, because it's gonna bring a lot of good in this architectural department, I would say, and how people actually live. Because I mean, look at the New Guinea right here, just clearly a much better example how people should live than how people actually live. And we saw even in the small communities, they already living better than, like I say, 98% of the rest of the population in the world. Even they, it seems like they don't have that much money. They don't have that pretty much by the GDP again. It's like pretty much nothing. But yeah, who not like, look at this. Even this community here, if you live like this, even they're a bit close together again, but still, very nice. Very nice area to live compared with what we saw in South Africa, for example, or even in Europe in some countries. With this communist building and all that stuff, you're gonna choose Papua New Guinea every day, every single time. It's just a much better way to live. Now, again, here when they start jamming together, it's not a great idea to do it. I mean, look at this, just you start to go in the other direction, which is bad. But fortunately, they have a lot of those good examples, which is extremely good for them. And that mindset that's gonna require to move from location-based properties, they call it like that, to actually beautiful place when you actually want to live your life. It's gonna take some time, and like I say, probably by the end of the century you're gonna start to see that, and most likely you're gonna see some real change in the next one. But like I said, I'm so advocating for the lower population, especially here in the Western world, because it's a rat race here. It's just, you want to have the best thing, you want to have the best location and all that stuff. People are not gonna ask you in which house do you live, or how nice is it, where the house is situation, where you live. Like, you live in a downtown, you're living in a center, you're living in a let's say edge of the city, living outside the city. And that's kind of a sad way, I would say. And the way they're building, even here in Europe right now, even in my country, is just so basic, so lack of beauty. And just, you don't want to live there. Just like, they have 4 walls and a roof, and they call it a house, and they say, oh, that's great. You know, it's horrible actually to live there. Nobody's gonna choose when you have all other choice. Even when you consider the money, I mean, the difference between a very nice house and a basic one that we have here is not gonna be that much of the difference. So it's even the lack in the culture, I would say. So yeah, I can see with the new generation that that is gonna change with time, of course, and we're gonna transition to those outside small communities area with a actually very nice, beautiful house to live in, and start enjoying some life. Not for us, because for us it's gonna be a bit too late, but for the next generation, I guess. I clicked there and now then send me here. What the fuck? But yeah, I mean, look at this. How much land? Can you imagine? You have been, again, the house can be rebuilt. You can have better materials. Again, we need money for it. I get it, but look what we have. Look at this land. Look at this yard. Nobody in Europe is gonna have something like that. Nobody. Such a huge yard, such a nice one. Nobody. So like I say, you already start very well. The problem, like I said, is just the high population. But yeah, now the main problem is like, where you're gonna work, how close you are to work. Hopefully we're gonna manage that. I don't know, making like this, still talking about that universal basic income, but I think first we need to talk about like decentralize the government, not relying that on them, and came up with another system, and then we can have actually a good income, basic income, whatever we can have it, a decent one, actually a good one to actually live your life. Otherwise, if you're still relying on the government, it's not gonna end well. It never does. But yeah, I think with what we see here in Papua New Guinea, it is actually very nice, and I didn't expect to see. Man, when I see those GDP per capita, I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be fucked up here. But no, and you don't even have those 360 on those small islands, and then clearly they have some communities of people here too. So it's gonna be actually, who knows, maybe even better here. Again, I think you have the same old question in these areas, like, what exactly do you want? You want money, you want to live in a nice area, what exactly are you going for? And here in the West we're trying to have it all, and clearly it's not working. That's why maybe with time it's gonna be a bit different. Yeah, those houses looks pretty interesting, but it's not my thing. Otherwise, like I said, what we saw in mountains, like I said, even in small communities, is just great. I wish we have some 360s from here, because probably it's gonna live even better here, I would say. Landscape wise, yeah, we need some huge advancing technology. I mean, just imagine you have a house here, and you have, let's say, internet and cable with all the program in the world that you want, from a satellite antenna. Done. Even if it's that, like, it's gonna cost you for, like, I don't know, €1, 10 euros per month, or even for free, who knows. You have internet and TV for free, that would be great. You have like solar panels and batteries, so you don't need to rely on the grid. Great. You have some device, especially from those areas, when you can actually take a small one. You can take water from the sea and make it extremely clean and extremely fresh water. Even better, you find some technology that all the sewage water is gonna get to, I don't know, recycle. Even if you just say you don't want to use it because sewage water, even if you just dump it in the sea, but you dump clean water, I mean, like, just nothing to harm there. Great technology, that too. Easy transportation. Let's say you have, like, I don't know, even in this community you have a nice bike, that's pretty good. You don't need a car here. But if you have like cheap cars and cheap motorcycles and they don't break and all that stuff, also pretty good. Drone delivery, so doesn't matter where you live, you're gonna have your package in 24 hours. Pretty good again. Medical supplies, AI technology that's gonna, I don't know, have some, like I say, medical problem, just connect to the internet and say, look, this is what's happened, this is why I get, this is the what I need to do, and just gonna give you nice, I mean, all that just gonna not depending on the big city, on the centralized government and all that stuff, and just allow us to just spread around. And also, like I say, lands could be cheap and materials very easy to find and very easy to build and quick also to build. And when all that technology, you don't rely, let's say, that much on the infrastructure that you need, like roads, gas, electric power and all that stuff. You can just make them yourself. That would be a great huge leap, I would say, advance in technology. Like I said, probably not this century, so we're not gonna see them, but the next one probably is gonna be a good one. That is the main problem that I see in every single country, doesn't matter where you are, it's too much government, I would say. So yeah, I think we somehow managed to decentralize the government and not rely on them, and they already have a huge amount of power. Probably we are gonna do much better, I would say, in the future. And who knows, maybe you can actually live better lives when you don't rely that much on on their support. And that's why, again, I'm not against that basic income. Like I say, it's a good thing, but it cannot be came from the government. It should be like a decentralized type of system. Otherwise, it's like they're always gonna put some condition on that money. So yeah, nobody wants that. Otherwise, yeah, we can live in the nice small communities like we always do. Like I said, that's the future. We're gonna go back to that 100%. Those huge cities pretty much is gonna remain empty, and those people, like I said, who actually don't need that much to live. Like I said, you can have a cheap car, a cheap, brand new, actually, that doesn't break, which is good. Cheap all kind of transportation, even like maybe a drone transportation at some point. I don't know, like you don't need, like I say, a permit to fly that. Just automatically gonna fly whatever you want. I mean, the future is gonna look great, but like I say, the main problem is this decentralized government. That should be, wow, that's interesting here. Look at those masks. That's the main problem. I thought it's a dinosaur, but no, that's a crocodile. They're pretty nice. That's the main problem. If you fix that as fast as possible, the opportunities is gonna be infinite, and combine that with a lowering population, the sky is the limit. Okay, it's gonna have some other problems, as always with humans, but at least we have a nice base one. Just you wanna get out of those huge cities, those communities, yeah, you can. You have a nice house with a lot of huge yard and trees, and this one I don't like it, but probably those are housing for this. They have a mine here. What was that? I'm not sure exactly what is in this area, but they have some sort of mining, and those are housing for those people. So yeah, I kind of can accept that, I would say, because they're really temporary houses. They could done a much better job also, but it looks like, yeah, some mining industry here. They could done a much better job than they have it, but hey, it is pretty decent. So yeah, I think Papua New Guinea should be an example. I never thought I'm gonna say that, but they seems to, most of them, living pretty interesting lives. Wow, that's a huge one. Even those small houses, those basic houses, now you're gonna want a very modern house, very efficient. You don't even actually need to use that much energy to cool it or heat it, and again, very safe one. You don't need gas, you don't need that pipe, you don't need that nonsense. So extremely cheap to run. If it's not for free, who knows? But yeah, I think they should be kind of an example, because look, again, they have a great landscape here, the great land. It is what it is. This guy, it's climbing barefoot, for God's sake. Look at this, how he can do that. And those are like rocks here, and it's just barefoot climbing. That's insane. I don't see that lady legs, but 100% they're gonna have some boots in it. This guy is just barefoot. Yeah, great life there. If you live there, I am interested in which part of the country you live in and how actually it looks, because if you live in those small communities with that huge lands that we saw, boy, you pretty much made it. I mean, like I said, you're already better than 98% of us. No matter what income you have, you're still gonna be better than us. Yeah, I think we saw that before, but yeah, look at this great landscape, I have to say. Yeah, so if you live there, just leave a comment and say how things are there, because it looks, again, pretty good. Even the money, it's a problem still yet for most of the people, I would say, in the medical system. I think they should be an example about how things should be done in these departments of urban areas. Even here you can see they're a bit jammed together, which I'm not a big fan. They need more trees again. But look at this, that's a nice house. See, you don't need that much. Now this one, as you can see here, doesn't look so great on the outside. Maybe it looks better on the inside, but on the outside doesn't look great. But this one, even this one, for God's sake, but I like those flat roofs, green roofs. That's also an improvement, I would say. This one actually looks pretty good. And actually, I'm not a big fan of those two floor houses. I like one a single level, like a one floor level house. And especially when you have land, that's a much better position, way to do it. So yeah, look at this. They're heating water like this. They have energy like this. I mean, they're doing pretty well. Yeah, I mean, the future is gonna be great if we fix this nonsense government, and then we just, like I said, lowering the population. Even this one, like, they already surpassed. Now I can see why there are more than 10 billion people. Even they don't have that much money. Like I say, they live better than 98% of the rest of the world. So I say, fuck it. But that I think should stop, because it's gonna pretty much give you poverty and all that stupid stuff. So yeah, if they have a population in this region, like, I don't know, 100,000 people, it's gonna live like paradise. They're already living in paradise, but they're gonna have actually modern condition of living, because they seems like they're already in paradise. In my opinion, again, it seems like it is a great way of life, pretty much. Yeah, pretty good, I would say. Houses, yeah, need some modernization, 100%, and this community need to be just a bit spread out more. But look at those trees, look at those forests, just that's the dream right there. So yeah, if you're an engineer, just try to engineer the cheap materials, even the recycled ones. Think of the perspective of lowering the population, and start building like very structurally integrated, so very well standing to those winds and tornadoes and whatever they have. House also test the test of time, so it's gonna last at least 100 years with low maintenance, and very efficient and very nice design. That's also a very important thing. You don't need just a space to live, just actually a beautiful place to live. So that's an important thing. And focus more on, like I said, when there's one level house, it's always gonna look better than to level house, especially like I said, with lower population, you're gonna have much more land for every single one of us. So I don't see a problem with that. And like I say, most of the people are gonna choose to live outside the city next century. So yeah, that's gonna be great. So if you're an engineer and you want to design those type of houses, you should start like that. Otherwise, from the Papua New Guinea, I am extremely impressed and very well done. I even with that, like I say, huge corruption, they seem to do pretty well. Hopefully they're gonna improve even that GDP per capita, because it is pretty low. It seems like they're going up, but like I said, look at this, $2,500 nominal. It's extremely low. But it doesn't look like that. It looks like a much bigger one, especially like I say in a countryside, like perfect. So yeah, if you live there, tell me how it is. My opinion, you already live better than 98% of the people. So I guess you're on a good track. If you're lowering the population by the end of the century, you're gonna see even much more improvements. So yeah, see you in the next video.